Done with spring and headed into summer, but before we do that, guys, we got to go ahead and wrap up the month of June. Hey, what's up, bookworms? Mike back with another monthly wrap-up, this time for June of 2022. We're going to talk about everything I read, my book of the month, and all of that fun stuff. So another exciting month on the channel, lots of things to talk about. We're going to do it all now. We're going to begin, like usual, guys, with what did I read in June? Well, I read 12 books. Now, 6 of them were novels, and 6 of them were manga. So calm down there. I'm not quite as good as that sounds there, but go ahead and talk about the manga ones first. I did 4 omnibuses of Vinland Saga, and if you don't know, those are like 500 pages, so I'm going to go ahead and count those as reading. I know some people are kind of iffy about manga or comics counting as reading, but hey, it is what it is. That's why I went ahead and jumped up my numbers on Goodreads, where I said I was going to read 50 books this year, and I raised it up to 100 books because I knew I was going to be reading some manga stuff. I read 2 volumes of Monster by Mr. Urasawa, and that is very, very exciting so far. So I think with the mangas I picked up this month, because post-reading Berserk, these were some that I want to try out. Everybody's been telling me to read Naoki Urasawa because they said that he has very, very influenced by Stephen King. That was going to be something that I liked, and I can see where they're coming from on that one. And then, of course, Vinland Saga, guys, because when it comes to Viking stuff, I started banging the shield. I'm ready to go. All about it. And Vinland Saga has been really great. I'm going to be talking about that in the channel here very, very soon. But as for the actual novels, I read 2/3 of the Shattered Sea trilogy by Joe Abercrombie. That was Half a King and Half the World. Did not finish Half a War yet. Going to get back to that sometime. I don't really have immediate plans for it because we have entered into that read-along on the channel. But kind of mixed results on the Shattered Sea. As you might know, that isn't quite up to the first law standards that we've become spoiled with as far as Joe Abercrombie goes. With that, it was aimed obviously at younger audiences. I still thought the first book was really, really good. A second one kind of fell into some of those YA things that I don't really care for. But, it's Joe Abercrombie. I feel like him writing YA is going to be better than most, just YA authors' best book. So I'm going to continue with that eventually. But like I said, we are knee-deep in the Codex Alera read-along now. So that is just kind of taking a backseat for now. Finished book number 4 of Legends of the First Empire by Michael J. Solomon. This was Age of Legend, and I talked about it recently on a weekly update. I'm not disappointed in the series. I'm just a little underwhelmed. I was hoping for a bit more. I do like a lot of the background, the history of Elan that he's given me here, but everything else just kind of makes me think, Raya Revelations was better than this in every single way. So I do kind of regret that I didn't go to Raya Chronicles, which was more Royce and Hadrian, because obviously that's what I want to know about, because none of the characters in this are quite even, or they're not even in the same universe with Royce and Hadrian right now. So I am going to finish that series, but again, like with Shattered Sea, no immediate plans for it. I did Swan Song by Mr. Robert McCammon. Again, an author that people have been telling me that I would love due to how much I love Stephen King. And I can say so far, guys, you were right, 2 for 2 on that. Boy's Life was excellent. Swan Song was very, very good as well. Jade City by Fonda Lee, which I reviewed on the channel recently. And that's a series I'm really, really enjoying. I'm anxious to get to book number 2, Jade War, because the way the first book ends, you're left kind of wanting some more. But I feel like that first book set up everything so great, and you really do feel like that Godfather in Japan with a little bit of magic sprinkled in really, really well. So I do like what Miss Lee is doing with that series. Very anxious, like I said, to continue. And then my classic, guys, I did read Call of the Wild by Jack London. This was one of those ones I had on my classics I still want to read. This was my number 1 on there, and I'm glad that I did it because, guys, very good. Very good. Like I said before, who knew that a series, a book that is over 100 years old and people still talk about today, that it would actually be pretty good. And this is one of those, because I do feel like sometimes classics, you can go back to them and they're just kind of like, maybe they were for that time. Now I don't really know how I feel about them. This one was wonderful. I loved it quite a bit. Haven't actually been able to stop thinking about it for a little bit. So that means I think that it was very, very good. So weeks later, I'm still thinking about that book. Then I had one DNF, guys. Now, I don't DNF books very often. Again, I talked about this on the weekly update the other day about sometimes these things are just going to happen. Some series that are very popular, sometimes they just don't click with you. I'm talking about The Three Body Problem by Cixin Liu. It just wasn't for me, guys. I got about halfway into it, and it's very much an ideas-based, philosophical kind of book, and I'm about character, and I didn't feel like I was getting any of those things. And some feedback that I got from people was like, yeah, well, I mean, that's kind of what the series is, so if you're not really digging it, I don't know if it's going to be for you. And I took that as like, yeah, I've just, like I said, the further I get along in this channel, the more stuff that you guys send me, the more stuff that I want to read, that I'm anxious to read. I'm not going to waste it reading some time. That reading time is valuable, guys. I don't want to waste it on something I'm not really enjoying. So I think that one was just a miss for me. Again, no detraction of that series at all, because I know it has a huge fandom, and I'm definitely not saying anyone is wrong. It just wasn't exactly what I was looking for. And that's everything that I read, guys. Let's go ahead and dip into that book of the month. Now, I don't feel like this is a secret. If you follow the weekly updates where I have talked about it, I haven't reviewed the book yet, but it was quite obvious what was going to be my book of the month. And for the second month in a row, guys, it is Robert McCammon. This is Swan Song. I don't know where to begin with this book. This is easily the best book I've read this year. And I know that I said that about Boy's Life as well. So I know I've started with the two most popular Robert McCammon books. So I think the bar might be raised so high now. I don't know. Go back and reading everything else. I don't know how I'm going to feel about it. But guys, Swan Song is, if I know people want to make the comparison between it or The Stand, which did you like better? Guys, they're both amazing books that have similar premise. One has the super flu and one has nukes, but there's a lot more to it that makes them different, I believe. And I definitely think that there's room on the same block for both of those books. But Swan Song, guys, just an incredible journey. It's amazing that Mr. McCammon wrote a book that was 900 plus pages long, and I was never bored a single time. I was invested in every single character, even the kind of ones that were just kind of, on the side. I got invested in every one of those characters, guys. And the last 50 pages of this book, I was reading through some eyes, or maybe have a little bit of a salty discharge, put it that way. It was very good, guys. Emotional journey. You will love those characters to death. And when you're dealing with a dystopian future, near future, I think that's something that you're going to get really invested in, and bad things are probably going to happen to some of these people in that type of world. So I definitely won't tell you, don't get connected to anybody, because you will. You'll get connected to everybody. But what I'll say about Swan Song, guys, is I would never, ever tell anybody, hey, break your TBR for this 900-page monster. But what I will say, it is 100% worth burning down your TBR for. It's that good. This is a book that I will not stop thinking about for a while. I had a hangover big time with that, to where I felt like I was like in an emotional state, and I'm watching like TV commercials with stuff, and I'm starting to get emotional, because that's just how good that book was. It really does connect with you, and you with those characters. So book of the month, second month in a row, Robert McCammon. And it's amazing, because this is an author I had never really heard that much about before I started this channel. So that one I owe completely to you guys. Ever since I reviewed The Stand, and people were telling me to try that. Brian Lee Durfee's the one who convinced me to try Boy's Life, and he hit on that, and you guys hit on Swan Song. So yes, absolutely an amazing author who I am going to dive into his bibliography a lot going forward. I'm already planning to do They Thirst this fall. I think I'm going to try to fit Gone South in whenever I've got an opportunity, and I'm just going to kind of pick and choose from here on out. Hey, I got some extra free time. I think a Robert McCammon book might be just what I need. So Robert McCammon, book of the month, second month in a row, Swan Song, guys. Do yourselves a favor and pick it up. Let's go ahead and talk about a little channel growth for the month. We did cross 72,000 subscribers on the channel, so that's fun. I think I'm going to have my next live stream at 75K, so, tell a friend. Tell a friend. So for the month, guys, 2,339 subscribers. That is up 146 from May. 59,000 hours of watch time. That's actually down 1,000 from May, but 365,000 views, up 13,000 from May. So up everything in May except for watch time, but still on the upward path. So I want to thank the content creator overlords for apparently taking that, whatever that was that I think allegedly had happened to my channel, because it seems like things are back on the right course. Some hits, some misses this month. That's always going to happen when you're a content creator. Some things are going to resonate, some things are not. There were some surprises there, which I'll talk about when I talk about biggest flop of the month. But overall, I'm very happy with how the channel's going. The engagement is still very high. And again, as a content creator, that's what you want. You want people to talk to you about these things and people to watch longer. That's the key thing. Subscribers are nice, guys, for the aesthetic. So people will look at your channel and they'll say, "Whoa, this guy's got this many subscribers. He must know what he's talking about." But in the end, with the content creator, what matters is engagement. So watching, thumbs up, and commenting, things like that. That is what actually helps us as content creators, and I'm very happy to say that those have been looking pretty good. But let's talk about some of that most popular content for the month. This one was a surprise, kind of a come from behind victory, because I did not think it was going to beat the book haul. But my most popular review of the month, guys, was not about a book. It was a movie review. I did do the movie review for Elvis, the Baz Luhrmann Austin Butler picture that just came out, and I had plenty to say about it as a big Elvis fan. I don't usually do movie reviews on the channel, but I said, hey, you know what? I see 2-3 movies a year. I don't have a problem, doing a movie review when I see a new movie on opening weekend, and obviously being a big fan, been kind of counting down to this. I wanted to talk about it. And it's 16,000 reviews as of recording this, and that's shocking to me. And I know a lot of people have said, "Hey, well, crossover, that's going to happen." It hasn't happened before, and I've talked about plenty of stuff, not books. So non-book stuff doesn't really do very well on the channel. So this one was a pleasant surprise. So the chances that people that were looking for an Elvis movie review also happen to be big fantasy nerds, I think that might be a very, very rare circumstance. But hey, anytime you can get new eyes, new traffic on the channel, it gets your channels, out there in the algorithm a little better. So that's the coolest thing. But also, just knowing that there are other big Elvis Presley fans out there, that obviously is going to make me very, very happy. My book haul for May, always usually the winner of this category, but second now with 14,000 views. A book haul is always going to be a lot of fun, because I get to thank you wonderful people who have spent your hard-earned money to send me something. And I mean, as a content creator, that's the most amazing thing you can do. I think that's just so cool that you would actually think to send me something. That's wonderful, and I do appreciate it. I always want to thank those people who did that and show off some of those books, because there are a lot of people. Like, for example, I've been collecting those Robin Hobb, the Realm of the Elderlings paperbacks, and people are curious about, hey, are they all the same size? How do they match? And things like that. And guys, they match very, very well. So I love to show off things like that for people who are interested in buying the same thing. So that and thanking you is always something. The Blade itself, I am re-reviewing Joe Abercrombie's The First Law. That one had 9,000 views, and kind of surprising to me, guys, because believe it or not, on a channel called Mike's Book Reviews, my book reviews get the least amount of views these days. So I know that I brought a lot of people into the First Law fandom. So I was looking back at it, and I was like, all I've done is actually was spoiler reviews for those books. So how about I just go back and apply my normal standard review format to it now, since there's a new group of people doing a read-along for it on the Discord. And apparently that was what some people wanted. So I'm glad. I hope I'm still... In the end, guys, it's always about convincing more people to read First Law, because I want more people to read First Law. And if I can get one more person to read it that has not yet, then hey, I have done my part. So always it's just paying it forward with the First Law, a series that is very, very dear to me. Something else that's dear to me is getting to talk to fellow content creators. Now, I already have Talk About Nothing, but I thought I want to open this up to a group conversation, kind of like if you had like 3 or 4 buddies just at a bar or a coffee house, and just see where the conversation takes you. So kind of almost like an expanded version. Talk About Nothing. This I have dubbed Saturday Night Nights, and we had Saturday Night Nights 2 this month, and my guests were Brian Lee Durfee, Christopher Rocchio, and my co-host from As the Wheel Turns, Miss Madison Goodyear. So great conversation. Again, anytime you can see Brian Lee Durfee struggling with technology live while things go on, it is just great. He's very much like Harry Dresden. He touches an electronic and it just stops working. But that one had 9,000 views. And anytime that you can talk to 3 friends that long about absolutely whatever comes up, and people are interested in hearing what you had to say, that's obviously a blessing. So I'm blessed to have those people in my life, and the fact that you guys are interested in listening to that conversation, it's great. So 3 wonderful human beings and 9,000 awesome people who decided to listen to that conversation. And then finally, kind of recent, Summer TBR 2022, that also had 9,000 views. People, I've said one thing that they're more interested in what I have read is what I say I'm going to read. There's a lot of interest apparently on that, but I love doing my TBR videos for like a quarter instead of monthly, because it gives people the opportunity to kind of shift their schedule around if they want to read something at the same time I do, or get those books and things like that. So I always enjoy doing those, and yeah, I've already kind of one thing off that list, but that was on the If Time section, so I don't really feel bad about it. That's the 3 Body series, by the way. But yeah, everything else on there is still a full go. leaving for that cruise in the morning. So I've actually got everything really set up, ready to go, at least for this first month here. Going to be dipping back into Jade War, going to be dipping into Codex Alera 1 and 2, and then we'll be hitting into Fire and Blood. That's going to be a reread heading up to House of the Dragon, which leads me to, guys, some of my favorites for the month that maybe didn't really get the views that these did. I did enjoy talking about why I think House of the Dragon is actually going to be quite good. And one of the biggest reasons, guys, is because it's based off Fire and Blood, which is a very good book that I know a lot of people, myself included, didn't give its full due when it came out because we were just mad that it wasn't Winds of Winter. But you know what? It's still a great, great read. And I'm looking forward to rereading it and getting refamiliar with that Targaryen family because like I said, if I'm being honest, a lot of those names kind of sound the same, and I need a refresher before that show starts because we are going to be doing an after show for House of the Dragon. I want to make sure I know what I'm talking about. So I'm excited to reread that. Some of my other favorites, favorite fathers in sci-fi and fantasy. I think that dads kind of always in fantasy always seem to get like this bad reputation of, either they're not there or they're bad guys or, they're Darth Vader, things like that. So I wanted to take a look at some dads who actually played a key or a pivotal role in some science fiction and fantasy. So it was really no agenda or anything, just some dads that I feel like really kind of have flown under the radar because I know there's been some really great parents in some fantasy book, but I wanted to give dads their due on Father's Day. That was something that was a lot of fun to me. So how about that flop? What was that flop of the month? This one was shocking to me. Shocking, because I listen to you guys. Now, I've said numerous times, I'll never be a manga channel, and I think maybe I said it so many times that I chase some of those manga viewers off because my Berserk Falcon of the Millennium Empire spoiler talk, 3,000 views. And I know that some content creators are like, dude, I would love to have a video have 3,000 views. The thing with that is like every Berserk video I've ever done on this channel has like 20,000 views in the first day. So it was stunning to me that I don't know if people, they just gave up on waiting because it did take me about a year to get to this arc, or I chased them off when I told them that I was never going to read One Piece. I don't know what happened there. Or maybe some of them just haven't read this far. I don't know. But that's one of those I feel like it'll pick up later. I think it'll pop up in the algorithm for someone later down the road, and it will actually start to take off at a later date. So that was very, very surprising to me that was my least popular video for the month. But hey, crazier things have and will happen. So what about some goals? Some goals for 2022. Really just getting everything taken care of prior to this vacation. I did record ahead a little bit so that you guys will still have content while I am out of the country here next week. So I will still have a video almost every other day, while I'm gone. So I encourage you guys, please, watch and comment on them, and I'll try to respond to all that when I get back. I'm sure work will be a nightmare when you take, a week off of work. Things will be crazy when you get back, but I will definitely make some time for you guys to read that if you want to do that. Just do that, kind of coordinate this channel read along of Codex Alera. I hope a lot more people are joining. There is a pretty good conversation going right now on the Discord, but there's always room for more, guys. We are doing 2 of those per month. I know that some people freak out because they see how thick these books are, guys, but they read just as fast as Dresden. I don't think they're like Dresden Files, but I think they read just as fast as Dresden because that's just Jim Butcher's writing style. So it's really not as bad as people are thinking it's going to be with the length. But hey, there's always time for you to catch up. 2 per month, and over the next 3 months. So if you want to join us, you can. I got the links down below if you want to go ahead and pick up those books. But as always, goals for this channel are always just to continue to listen to criticism, feedback, what you guys want. I like to put up polls once in a while to see what you guys are thinking, what you guys would like me to talk about. And as always, guys, if you comment on the videos, even if I can't respond to all of them, I am reading it. So I do listen to feedback. Lots of things that I read last quarter I didn't even plan to read, but I did because of you guys' feedback. So I always do listen, guys. So next live stream, like I said, at 75K, and I hope that won't be too long from now because I like live streams. I think they're a lot of fun, especially when you guys are asking me some of the tougher questions like I got last time. You know who you are. So guys, that was the month of June. How did things in June go for you? What was your book of the month? I would love to hear. Why don't you drop down below and let me know, and I will talk to you guys when I get back from Mexico.